Welcome everybody to Somebody's Heroes. We are back with the Raven Court. I'm Eric, I'm the Dungeon Master.
Hey everyone, this is Yuri at Yuri and the Beast, absolutely everywhere.
Hi, I am Kate the Great Cosplays, and don't kill my character.
Okay, so Morwen, you and Miasyn were in such a big rush after the whole Faeril incident under the mountain to have a private conversation that Morwen went ahead and teleported the two of you out to Artemir. So you guys arrive in Veriale's Military Research and Development Scientific Center in a room that I'm going to let Morwen describe, but I presume it would be empty.
So, we pop in, and Miasyn, you find yourself standing inside, yes, a room that very much looks empty. As Morwen looks at you and just says, "Follow me." You get a chance to glimpse before she opens the door. It is really like an empty room, no more than like 5 feet across in every section. Between the walls, you look down and there seems to be sigils on the floor that you think is what Morwen uses to know exactly where she is teleporting or where she is jumping, like coordinates of sorts. As she opens the door and you walk out to a huge lab that is multiple stories, and you can see that because as you both take a couple of steps forward, there is a railing and you look down and see 3, 4, 5 floors of lab with people hustling and bustling, elves, dwarves, humans, everything. There is something of everything here, and they all seem, at least most of them seem to be in some sort of uniform, some in coats, and on all of the tables there are vats with things inside of them, and there is so many doors leading away from this central lab area. As Morwen, without looking back at you, briskly walks towards one of these doors on the far wall to your left. And as she is walking through, you notice everybody will literally stop working and stop what they're doing to look at her and bow. And as soon as she passes, they go back to exactly whatever they were doing. There seems to be you hear people start chattering and whispers in the air, as it doesn't sound like Morwen makes personal appearances very often.
At least not here.
Not in this one. Not at all. But there is something here. The something that she had mentioned before you left the Under the Mountain that she wanted to show you. The something that she said would help in your endeavors. She reaches a door on the far wall, and when she puts her hand to it, you see that there is no doorknob. She lays her hand flat on the door, and sigils glow. As it's some sort of... You think it is... The door is trying to make sure that it is her. Something that we would know maybe as a scanner of sorts, right? And those sigils glow, and when the door ascertains that it is her, it swings open. And only then does she look back at you and beckon you forward into the room.
And Miasyn will follow.
As you walk into this new room, it is almost as barren as the first, at least barren of people. You walk in and the walls are chock full of things that you've only ever read about. Things that serve some sort of arcane use. Things that are used to infuse magic and take out magic. More vats and some glass jars the size of small humanoids. And you walk in with her, and as you do, the door just swings shut behind you. You see a brief glowing of sigils before it just looks like an ordinary door again. She motions to a small table on one side of this room that looks, almost gives you hospital vibes, is the best way I can describe it, with things making beeping noises and lights coming out of other things. But there is a desk with books piled high on top of it, most of them which seem to be handwritten. And she beckons you to sit as she brings another chair for herself. Now, fighting a god is quite the goal, I suppose. And though I know you to lead with your emotions most of the time, it is honestly expected at this point. Even I have to admit that this comes as a bit of a surprise that you would be so willing to put yourself and others in such dangers. So I am going to assume that this person that we found is of some great importance.
She is. And this is not the only person of importance that Auril has threatened lately. Auril has made it very clear that she is coming after me and others that are close to me. So, this seems to be the course of action now. It's been long enough that Auril and I have had our differences, and if this is how it is to be settled, then so be it. As for putting lives at risk, that is something that I will never take lightly. However, Auril has made it quite clear that she will take lives, whether I put them at risk or not. By being close to me, they are at risk. My hope is that if we can gather the powers of the Raven Court and my own friends, that there will be much less risk, and we can finally put an end to this.
Now, there are a couple of things.
Just a couple.
That I could do for you. But I must know, what do you intend to do when you inevitably face down this Auril? Are you intending to obviously take this Pharaoh back? But if your relationship with this god is as you say it is, they will not just simply let you walk in and have them. There will be a conflict, and what are you planning to do about that? If you manage to take this Pharaoh without ending or capturing the god in some manner, they will undoubtedly come after you, come after anyone who aided you, which means that you do not have much of a choice. But would you end them or capture them?
I agree that a stealth mission is out of the question. Even if we did the mission itself successfully, she would come after us. If a conversation can be had and Auril can be convinced to see reason, then that would be marvelous. However, from what I know of her, that is not the most likely course of action. I am, as I have always been, going to do what it takes to protect my friends and my people. If we can capture her and contain her safely, fabulous. Whatever it needs to be done to ensure the safety of those under my charge is what I will do.
You say that now, but I have a feeling that what you just said will really, really be tested.
Morwen, I've been saying that for 1800 years. It has been tested every single day of those years, and it is the only thing that I have held on to throughout that time.
See, but you are still here. And I have a feeling there is a chance you might not come back from this. Or at least not the way you are.
What are you getting at, Morwen?
That is a different sort of risk, I think. It is a god, after all. We are both women of magical capacities. Yes.
Absolutely.
Though I get the sense that yours is not entirely your own. You borrow magic from something or someone. And though I will not ask for details, we're all allowed our secrets after all. I feel like that, whatever it is, will have opinions about whatever you do, because a person can only reasonably take magic from one source. If you were to capture or kill this god, would you not be tempted to take their power?
What I do beyond the magic that I have gained through traditional study is more of a sharing and cultivating of power than magic. Not fully unlike what a god does with their own power and the powers of others, which is perhaps why Auril is so frustrated with me. As far as my other source is concerned, that is another relationship I have held for 1800 years, a mind that I know very well, and we are both already making arrangements should I no longer be the best one to help cultivate that power.
You still have not answered my question, though. Would you then take Orwell's power? What would you do with it? It has to go somewhere.
You said before that I lead with emotion. Auril seems to lead with a fear and suppression of winter. Her son, an old friend of mine, has become the demigod Wrath of winter. There is a protection that winter grants. It holds the world still and safe. There is a comfort and a kindness in it that has been missed by Auril and her demigods, but not by me. I have held this aspect of winter for the frozen north for quite a long time, and I do not think it would be unnatural for me to hold it in a more official capacity. I have seen Auril's god power taken and used in different emotional winters. And if The position of God of Winter is vacant if Auril is no longer the one to hold it. Then I will continue to do what I've done.
That is such a sweet way to say you think you'd be a better god than her.
I know I'd be a better god than her.
You've been so passive, almost infuriatingly so, since I've met you. I didn't think you had any teeth in you. I like this, Miasyn, and I will help. And she stands then and walks towards a table in the opposite side of the room that seems to be covered in boxes, but the boxes don't look like normal boxes. And you, Miasyn, as someone who has dealt with your fair share of magical artifacts, know that these boxes are probably made out of lead.
Exactly an inch thick of lead.
Exactly an inch thick. No more, no less.
And it is.
She goes ahead and looks at them. And the boxes themselves don't seem to have any discernible markings on them, but she somehow knows what's in each and every single one of these.
Of course.
She pulls one, and compared to a lot of the other boxes, this one looks relatively small. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like a good 6 inches, little more maybe, wide. She brings this small rectangular box over and sits back down in front of you. Now, I help you, not just because I am beginning to find you amusing, but because what you are doing is not for yourself. And though I am aware, very aware, of all of the things people think and say about me, nothing I've done has been for myself either. You are willing to fight for your people, someone who, no offense, does not have the most physical prowess, are willing to put yourself in danger for them and lead them and give up on any other wishes that you could have possibly had as a person to lead them and to make sure that they are better off than they were before. And if that is true...
Spoken as someone who knows that path quite well, I believe.
Yes, well, if that is true of you, then we are more alike than you think.
It's funny how many times I've had this conversation of late.
Unlike you, I do not care much for the way people see me, and so I've become a villain in a lot of their stories. But everything I've done, like I said, has been for other people. I have risen to power here through my own merits, for this is a meritocracy, after all. I have done my research and all of the things that I've invented and looked into in order to bring the people of Artemir and eventually the world into a better life, showing them the power of not just ordinary magic, right? But what is beyond that, to give them a better life. I have dedicated my life and extended my life and those who of the council and those worthy minds to help me in this endeavor, to move us forward. For them, I have given up any semblance of an ordinary life, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Though I would assume it'd be easier for me being a little less emotionally driven than you.
Miasyn. This is going to be an awful high DC.
Okay.
Roll an Arcana check for me.
Alright. Well, that's an awfully low roll. It's a 2 on... That's a 2 on the die. 13 total. I think I have a magic item that can help me. I think I have a magic item that can give me advantage, though. I gotta... how does this item work? I legit have not used this item since the Guardians, like early Guardians games, but I have something that can work, and I'm gonna use it if I can. Okay, hold on.
If you have something that gives you the advantage,
I know, yeah, like only even because the D4 isn't gonna do it, but okay, that's not gonna do it. Hold on. There's the other magic item. I have so many. I'm gonna see.
I love how much you're scrapped.
Oh, it's just a D4. It's not worth it. I found the item I thought of. Nah, it's not gonna do it.
No worries.
Nothing
no
worries
of
from you. I want to know what I would have known. It's okay.
Nothing of consequence. Morwen gets to hide her secrets a little longer.
Well, he's taking notes while Yuri's talking, so we'll see what Miasyn says next.
I love this.
You do notice, like, she looks at you a little differently. She used to look at you the way she looked at everybody, which is slightly bored and uninterested. But
Miasyn has the insight to notice that, absolutely.
and you know that wasn't a slight to you as a person. It's just a person like her genuinely finds very few things interesting these days. Now, with all of that said, you would be a fool to expect my aid in something like this that poses so much risk without knowing I would expect something in return. Now, I will let you think on that until after. You sure? I can wait until I show you what I was going to gift you as a peace offering between us.
Let's take a look. And I have a few things in mind after that.
Very well. She goes to open the box, and the box looked like it was a solid thing, a solid rectangle with no hinges, no line to distinguish the top from the actual box. But as she puts her hands on it, like a sandwich, one on top and one on the bottom of this box, you see a line form around the perimeter that glows purple. A vibrant purple. And she brings her hands apart, and the lid just comes with it. Inside this box that, yes, was very much made out of lead, is a gem. What looks like an oval purple gemstone. About the size, a little larger than an egg. And she brings it out, holds it in her hand. Now, this is like... how would I explain it to you? As somebody who is used to using magic, magic wielder like me, you would understand certain aspects of it. For example, it is not indefinite, right? There's only so much that our bodies can hold and use at one time. This allows us to do things that we wouldn't usually be able to accomplish on our own. This allows you to store magic throughout an extended period of time and then use it in one large magical explosion, a magical blow, whatever you want to call it. It allows you to do things you wouldn't normally be able to do by compounding your magic over a course of days. Now, above table, essentially this is a battery of sorts. You would put your, what we call spell slots, your magic into this, right? But that also means, caveat here, that you wouldn't have magic that day because it will siphon all of it. So if you want to charge this battery, you will be magicless for a day, right? So it siphons your magic when you speak a command word into it. And if you compound that over the course of several days, when you want to use it, you would go ahead and shatter this gem and cast a spell of a higher spell casting level than you usually would be able to because you're using magic that has been compounded over days. Now, how high this spellcasting level is depends on how many days you were willing to go without magic. Okay. And Eric, let me know, because I know I didn't run this by you.
You're
I
good.
think he likes
I have a mechanic question. If it's like, do the days without magic have to be consecutive?
No.
Yeah.
But
This
you
is-
are planning to fight
This is the
a
juicy
thing.
item.
You are planning to fight a big thing soon, so I would assume
Yeah.
you'd go the next 3 days without magic before you left, you know?
I'll
So
get that
it's
scaling
only
table
as
from you.
useful as how much you're willing to sacrifice and put yourself at risk. Right? It's something she would make, obviously.
That is, it's so Miasyn
magic
coded too.
comes
This is great.
Without a cost.
And this is
Okay.
me rolling.
Don't
with
we
it.
know it?
This is Eric rolling with the shit that people say. Let's go.
So
Are
all
you-
of this that I've told you above table, when she hands over the box with the crystal, and you take a moment to do like an identifier or whatever it is, you would glean all of this information off of the item. Okay? But I will give it to Miasyn in written form later. Love it.
Amazing.
So she just lets you look at it for a couple of seconds
Yeah.
as she finishes her explanation and assumes that you, obviously being so intelligent and magically inclined, understand what the purpose of this item is.
Miasyn will look to you. As for what I can offer you in return, you mentioned that you have done work to extend your own life, as well as those around you. I have a similar ability that I could grant you. I have a safeguard where, if I am to die, my body will be regrown. The memories from my past trance are maintained, and the dead body can be returned to where the new body is being formed to update with any memories held after that trance.
I will not lie. I have been so curious about that little fact about you, since it is very public knowledge about Verdeth's short temper and the fact that you have died before.
Yes.
But I did not fathom you could grant that to other people.
It is not something I have granted since I originally held the power, but I have some open slots, and one of them can be yours.
Now,
With
as
this,
you know, then she looks down at her gem. Power, especially power of such magnitude, comes at a cost. So do tell me the cost.
The cost is mine to pay. And part of that is you would also have the ability to completely close your mind and any ability of me to sense you at all from myself and my source. You would be completely reachable anytime or completely undetectable anytime, and it is entirely your will.
So it is your source's magic you are extending. Interesting.
After 1800 years, the lines between us have become a bit blurred.
Now, I do not believe that there would really not be a cost for me to pay.
As long as I'm the one paying the cost, it's not yours. And as you know, I'm always going to pay those prices for people.
Yes, you are that kind of person. But that would also mean I would be, linked to you in some capacity?
Only if you wish it. Or you're shut off from me completely. I can sense beings' minds around me. I would no longer be able to sense you, if that was your choice.
You do pose a very alluring argument, Miasyn. I didn't really think there'd be anything you could offer me that would make me genuinely want to aid you in your endeavors. But, this does make me think about it. Now, after you have so eloquently, and a little arrogantly named yourself to be a better future goddess of winter, would your source still grant you what they do? It is dangerous for a person to pull magic from more than one source, after all. So what happens then? You take those powers, and when you decide you no longer need that first source and discard it or get discarded, I lose my immortality as well. Right?
If no one is holding the deal, then yes. However, as I said before, my source already has its thoughts on others to hold the deal beside me. It is very good at making enticing offers. Perhaps you would want to pick it up, perhaps someone else. I have no doubt that someone would, or you could find someone to do it on your behalf if you are uncomfortable with it.
See, the problem here is there's too many intermediaries. I don't trust people, Miasyn, and you know that.
Do you trust
I am doing this
Solarian?
with you because you have so much to lose, and that makes people honest.
It does.
Now,
Do you
I would
trust
take
Solarian?
your word. As far as members of the Raven Court go, he is one of the more truthful ones. But again, doing deals with people is not something I enjoy doing. I would, however, take your promise, since you take your word so seriously, that if for some reason I was to lose this power from your source, either by your source not being there anymore, you discarding them, then discarding you, whatever may happen, with your new found deific powers, you would seek to grant me this immortality, regardless. After all, it's nothing a goddess wouldn't be able to do.
I have known Auril to do it for her own child. I have no doubts I could do it for you.
And you see a very small smile on her lips.
And as far as that power dropping, that deal, it is something that you can also drop yourself of your own will anytime. It is not something that you would ever take any pains for dropping or being dropped from. I have never seen anyone suffer from dropping the deal. One of the prices that I pay is in my current state. I could not do so. I would not survive dropping it.
Well, Miasyn, as you are, you would not survive. But like I said, deific powers are different. Maybe Goddess of Winter would survive. Very well. And she hands the box over to you. Take this. And you will have my aid as long as you keep your word. But why don't we make this official? And she stands up again, and right behind you there was this bookcase piled high with more books and papers that seemed to also be written by hand. She takes a scroll of parchment, sits back down, and in the small table between you, lays it out. And it looks like a circle written in runes. And this old language that probably Miasyn would be one of the only ones to recognize because it's so old. And
might have even been the magic language he was taught on. That's what she was reading back in school.
In this runic sort of circle, it looks, if you look closely, like two circles linked together. And she places her hand on one end. Goes, this is just assurance. I do not expect you to go back on your word. Like I said, you are terribly honest. At least in your emotions. You are a liar, as we all are. You have to be to keep so many secrets.
I prefer the term storyteller, but go on.
But
well, exactly,
you are honest in your feelings and in your emotions. And I do not expect you to break this bargain we have made. You will have my aid in this upcoming battle. And I will help you in any other way I can. And don't delude yourself into thinking that this is for you, but for my immortality. So
I'm
you
much
can
more
rest
comfortable
assured.
with the people around me doing things for themselves than for me anyway.
You are smarter than I gave you credit for. I will do anything for what I want. And you know that. And since I want something that you are providing, you know that I will aid you in any way I can. And I will not hold back.
Nor will I.
This is just to ensure you keep your end of the bargain once this is all done.
I'm comfortable with that. And just so I know the full bonds of this agreement, though I know it is impossible to fully understand any agreement until after it is made, what stipulations are you putting in here? What are you putting in for if I am unable, or if you are unable?
I really did not give you enough credit, Miasyn. Magic has a mind of its own sometimes. And should we fail in this, actually, I do not think we can really know what will happen if we fail. But I trust in magic as it is, and the arcane, and it will find a way to balance the scales, if you will. So not even I know what it will take from you in exchange for my aid if you fail.
I have to say I'm surprised at the extent of your trust here for someone who wants to know in the magic.
My own ability.
Is this magic your own ability? You said that it was a mind of its own.
As a whole, magic does have a mind of its own.
What do you gain from us making this deal rather than choosing to trust each other?
Assurance. I said that already.
But you don't even know what this assurance is, and yet you trust it.
Because it will be fair. It will take as much as I have given. And that is not something that people do very well in measuring. You could run, you could disappear, you could die. But the magic in this agreement will still make sure that I get something from you for my assistance. It will wait until it is impossible for you to fulfill your end of the bargain before taking, however. So, you do not have to worry too much. You do not have to worry at all if you intend to go through on your word.
I'm not worried, but I am curious. Everyone and everything has its own definition of fair. But you trust this, and this is going to get both of us closer to what it is that we want. So, and Miasyn will put her hand down.
As you both have your hand down, Miasyn's
staring at Morwen the entire time.
Miasyn's pale blue magic comes over and seals her hand down, creating a handprint. Morwen, your purpley black inky color magic comes down and presses your hand down. It creates a print of both of your handprints, curls itself up, and in a flash of fire, just poof, it disappears. Morwen, you know that that paper pulled out of this book and done for these contracts go somewhere. Nobody knows exactly where, but it's always been fair. It's always been just. So whoever or whatever is doing this is a very fair arbiter of these deals.
And as we're taking this deal, Miasyn, in her mind, will see a door being built. What would the door to Morwen's mind look like?
You would see a door that you think first is solid black, But when you really look at it is a crystal, as a lot of her magic tends to gravitate towards. It is not black, but it is the same hue of purple as that crystal stone that she handed to you. And you understand now that this item is not something she acquired, but is something she made herself. And inside this purple crystal door, you can't see through because there are these sort of tendrils of dark, of shadow, that prevent you from just looking through this purple crystal door. And it is what made you think the door was black in the first place. But it is not solid. Though it is not transparent either.
And real quick, as that door forms, Miasyn, I rolled a d6 to see how many total doors you could have in your head. I rolled a 5. Whose are you giving up? To create this door, which door are you giving up?
I understand.
Magic has a cost.
Yeah, Destinies. I have to drop Destinies.
Totally fair. So this door forms up as the lilac and wooden, very natural door of Destinies fades away and disappears. This door forms in your mind, and Morwen, yours just forms and is there now. And in your mindscape version of yourself, you're given a key, which I think for Morwen would probably be just her hand glows, like she did to open the door here in the first place. Morwen is in charge of opening or closing that door.
Miasyn will say, "You can seal it if you'd like."
And you feel her in your head tentatively trying it out, opening and closing it a couple of times. And
Morwen.
She just smiles.
Morwen, I'm also going to give you a +2 to intelligence.
Oh, say less.
Welcome aboard, babe.
I am.
I think. Yeah, tell me.
If you guys are curious, Morwen is now at a 26.
I had a feeling.
Nice.
I had a feeling this would put you up super high, which is why I only gave you a +2. But as you do that, Maya, as you're in your mindscape for the first time in a minute, you see Verdeth's door open for the first time in a minute, and a single word creeps out. Actually, not a word. An item floats through the door. It's just this daffodil floats through on the wind.
Yeah, Morwen, you can only see your own door in your mind. But you might actually, I'll say, as you are opening and closing your door, though, you would see Miasyn suddenly holding a daffodil. And she'll say, "I'll be there soon," whispered into it. And then she would look at you if you were making eye contact with her, both through the door and in person, because we can see both at the same time. And she will say, "Above table, when the people in this space were bowing to you, did they have looks of fear or respect, or both?"
Respect, absolutely. Again, it is a meritocracy. She came to her station through her own, mental prowess, and she is very proud of that. And that that is just how this works. She has never taken anything by force.
Then Miasyn will look at you on both of these planes and say, "When we came in here, you said that you did not care how people saw you, and they see you as a villain. Building yourself as a villain has been very useful to your story. It keeps you safe and it keeps the people around you safe. But if you are true in your desire for a better world, we are on the most powerful court in the most powerful group in this world to make change. And we are not alone in wanting it. And I hope that we can continue to reach our goals and do some good from here. Thank you, Morwen.
Don't thank me yet.
I will. I always thank people too soon.
And at that, Miasyn, as you're leaving Morwen's office, you hear in your own headspace, the Verdeth's door opens, and a simple daffodil floats through and lands in your hand.
And I take the daffodil and I let it lead me. I'll use it as a focus item to teleport with.
Okay. As you teleport, after leaving Morwen completely and saying the words that you said, you teleport to a place you haven't been in 1,800 years. Almost. It'll be 1,800 years in about 3 years. You teleport back to the site of your wedding, where Verdeth is standing against the tree that you guys used to get to Everbloom for the very first time. It's still lined with daffodils all around. The entire field of daffodils that he planted for this wedding were still there. The whole arch is still there. The whole nine. It still looks like that same day, except the tables are gone. And Verdeth is leaning against the tree, waiting for you.
Hey, Mai.
Well, this is a very difficult spot to be having this conversation.
I can't help it. I'm you know me, player for the dramatics.
And here I was thinking I had all the words I wanted to say, and then I see this and you always know how to take them away from me. Verdeth, so much has happened in the past day. It hasn't even been a full day. When was the last time that you saw or spoke to Auril?
I think our wedding day.
Which is why it's so interesting that this is where we are right now. I mentioned to you there was a darkness under a mountain in the frozen north, a fiendish, mindless presence that I could not connect with. And I couldn't connect with it because it was Auril. She was encased in a black gem and had shut herself off, so it only seemed like it was mindless, as only the Guardians can do. She's been alive. Maybe. She looked so different. She was fallen from her oath. I don't know what happened. I haven't seen her since our wedding. I tried getting in touch with her, but she never answered me. Oh, I shouldn't tell you this. Verdeth, I love you very much. And I am very sorry that I have not been able to love you how you deserve to be loved. I got a letter carried on a winter wind of a friend of ours. Or perhaps past friend. The week after our honeymoon, from Favril. And it said that she had feelings for me, had them for some time before our wedding, and she had made oaths and promises to protect me. And I think that became her paladin oath, and that's why she was fallen. I don't know why she was in the gem. I don't know why Auril took her. Even knows. I spoke to Even, and Even is now very much a demigod, has taken the wrath from Auril and made it his own so that Auril can better focus on other things and other goals of hers. And I can't help but take that personally and have a specific fear for what that means for the Frozen North and myself and you and Favril. Even said it was Fayril's choice to do what she did, whatever that was. Even seemed jealous of Favril. And when I suggested perhaps that jealousy could be used to go against his mother, I could tell that he would like nothing more still than to gain her approval, which could very well mean handing me over. Even opened his door so we could talk and sealed it shut again, but said that he would open it wider for me to come through. But that would be a mistake. I'd be walking into a trap. Auril is setting traps left and right, first with the Titan, now with taking Favril, and with Even. And I'm very much done with her. And I told Morwen that I think Auril poses too big of a threat to continue being the goddess of winter. And Morwen gave me an item that I can use to take that power from Auril. So, I need to go away for a few days so that I can put all of my magic into this item so that it will be ready to use. And then I'm going to fight Auril. And I have felt many times in your presence like I am melting, and I recognize now that this is not melting, this is cracking. I know that I have cracked, and I am so sorry.
Verdeth, the change in Even is something you would have known because you've spoken to him periodically over the millennia. Just so you're aware, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I have known for a long time that there was no way for us to be together at all unless I kept deals and bargains that I have made. And now I see that those deals and bargains are still keeping us apart. But I don't see any other way to go. And you've said it yourself, that when it comes to it, I will do my best to protect everyone but myself. And I am sorry.
Just gonna stand up from the tree. Just put a hand on Mai's face and just bring him for a kiss.
Miasyn will kiss Verdeth.
That was a lot of information. So, I mean, I already knew that, or I assumed that Beryl loved you. So the letter isn't super surprising. So, where is Favril now then?
As soon as I got her with the help of Morwen and Sylvain and Solarian out of the gem, she looked at me and said, "Of course it's you." And I don't quite know why that was said. She tried to cast a confusion spell on me. I resisted. And then she disappeared, leaving behind snow and the mark of Auril in a snowflake at her feet.
There's a lot of oral things now.
What has the Titan been up to?
So it's made 2 incursions down into the frozen north, but south of where it was coming from. So I haven't been able to determine any sort of pattern or anything to the paths, but everywhere it's going, it's leaving these ley-infused segments along its path.
So it's absolutely planning something. So it comes, does its work, and then retreats for a week.
Yeah, and it seems to have some place up in the north where it regathers its energy. I haven't been able to determine what exactly it's gathering there, but I couldn't at least see any sort of energy source in that spot, so I don't know if it was just the cold that it's gathering onto itself, or what.
We absolutely shouldn't make any stand against it in its own lair, or resting place. But if it's coming, expending its energy to do this work, and then leaving, perhaps it'll be in a significantly weakened state. Yes. And I know Event was our friend. If you still see him as yours, I understand. But he might very well pose a dangerous risk to me. If, while I am giving up all of my magic, he opens that door, I know I cannot go through, and I should not go through under any circumstance. I would like to use that opening to perhaps harness a bit of power away from them, from Auril. I believe that I have enough resistance to resist the door. However, some of my resistance comes from the mask that used to be Auril's, so I'm not sure if that would work. But I'm going to reconnect myself with my source, and that should keep me safe enough. And that is also an entity that is very familiar with latching on to worlds and claiming it as its own. I would like to use that to latch into Evans.
Will he be able to see you if you're on a different plane of existence?
I think only if the door is open and I know if that's open. However, he is a demigod, and the gods can see us here, usually. I've managed to block that out of the mask. Auril used to be able to see me. I would be an absolute fool to be saying all the things aloud that I am right now if I wasn't absolute certain that Auril on her own no longer could. And it's one of the reasons why she is quite angry with me. Just another thing that I have taken from her and repurposed.
Well, I can... Where are you planning on gathering your strength into this gem?
I'm going to be in... Miasyn stops herself from saying our. I'm going to be in its lair. That is where I am most protected. Where, if I'm not going to have my own magic with me, and I'm not going to be seeing things on my own, then I don't need to just be connecting through a trance. I'll stay fully connected with it the entire time. And that will give me further resistance against anything and anyone. And that space has been worded very much over the 1800 years that we both have a very heightened awareness of who and what are attempting to come into this space. It is quite impossible to do without both of our consents, and no one and nothing else can see in.
Hearing Miasyn say that that is the location she is most protected, he stops himself from wincing in that moment.
Verdeth,
What do you need from me, Miasyn?
I have already asked so much from you and not been able to give you what I've wanted to and what you deserve in return. I do not want you to need to babysit me. I do not want to ask anything more of you now. I know that you are the most powerful person. And yet I still feel like I need to protect you. And
What are you protecting me from?
from all the pain that I've caused. I've brought this Titan and Auril to your lands, and I've seen what I have become to our fellow guardians over the years, and why they no longer speak to me. And I've said before that as much as I want to be here, it is not just me that I bring with me. And you hate its presence, I know, and I do not blame you for it. I understand why. And I can no longer be who you and Auril fell in love with. But I want to at least set you up best I can to be happy. And I know that I do not bring happiness.
Verdeth, roll an insight check for me. You get advantage because you know Miasyn so fucking well.
Advantage to understand that you're getting broken up with.
No, it's slightly different than that, but yes.
That's not it.
You know, insight?
It's so sad.
It might be. It's insight, yeah.
29.
29. She is talking like she's going to die and never come back.
Oh, that's not what I got.
I mean,
If you roll...
look, let Verdeth take whatever Verdeth wants to take from this. Kate barely knows what's happening here. Miasyn's talking.
There's that, but she's talking like... she's
Someone
about
getting
to...
ready to meet the end.
She's about to go meet her end. She knows it. She's going to go face a god. She will either become a god or she will die. Those are her two choices she sees right now. So because of that, she is cutting ties. Whether he takes that as being broken up with after almost 1,800 years of, I would say happy, but marriage.
Oh.
Of cordial marriage.
Oh.
Or how he takes that exactly, that's up to Verdeth. However, you can tell that she is talking like someone who is about to go meet her end and will probably not come back.
Okay.
We also know that everything Miasyn says, she is trying to protect her friends. Oh.
Who don't need her protection.
Where are you going, Lai?
To the lair.
No. What is the plan here?
To remove the threat of Auril.
And how exactly do you plan on doing that?
By destroying her and becoming...
With and how? Where's this gem?
Miasyn will take it out and show it to you. It is
What do I see?
a golf ball sized purple gem. It's a darker purple, shades of black within it. And Miasyn will say, with my current magical capabilities, I cannot access the high levels of magic that I need to destroy a god. But with this gem, and with the help of the Raven Court, and perhaps some guardians, but I do not think it wise to ask that of any of you, especially if some might side with Even. But with all the help I can get, and this gem, I should have enough power to destroy Auril. At which point someone else would need to be the god of winter. And the gods of winter, for very long, have done so through winter's wrath, like Even has become, or winter's harshness, like Auril has been, with fear and with the ferocity and the unforgiving nature of winter. But that is not what winter has been to me. I have been repurposing Auril's mask and my own connection with the frozen north to use the protective properties of winter. And I have been playing with powers, truly holding powers at bay, with all that I have combined and all that I have gathered, to the level of what a god could control of people. And I have not done it. You know that I have not done it. But from 1800 years of rewriting what it means to be the monarch of winter, to be the guardian of the frozen north, in the spirit of winter itself. And maybe from the mask too. And what Even said as soon as I put it on that I sounded different. I do believe that I could be the god of it. And a safer one. One that would not go after people and hurt them. I'm tired of seeing the people that I care about be hurt. And I am one of the people doing that hurting. So this is a way to fix quite a few problems at once.
Okay. Do you want my help with this?
Very much yes and very much no.
Can I see the stone?
Yes.
Take it. Can I focus my own spells into it for the time being?
If you do, it will take every single spell slot you have, and you will be powerless for a full day's worth of spells. You will have no more magic that day.
Done.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Put one day druidic energy. Kate.
Yep.
Over on your notes, put in 1 day of druidic powers from Verdeth.
Level 20, druid energy. That's gotta count for a lot more than 1 day of Miasyn.
Technically.
Miasyn
Ninth level,
sees...
an 8th level, 2 7th, 2 6, 3 5, 3 4, 3 3, 3 2, 4 1.
Miasyn watches you do that. What does it look like, do you think, as you do that? Do you think there's like any physical change?
This is instantaneously the same as if you were to cast every single spell instantaneously for yourself.
I will say, as he grabs it and begins to focus, you see his eyes glow green, and the magic, just all the runes on his arm illuminate green, and the power just swirls down his arm, all green on his right-hand side, and you see that all just begin to, from his eyes, pour out into the stone. And from his left-hand side, you see a red glow right on his shoulder blade area, and you see red pour down from his left arm and fill into the bottom, actually giving it even more spells.
Oh, you're good. I was going to have you roll an Arcana check on that one, but that's okay. You want to do it, I will let you just do that, boo-boo. Send her the list of what those spells are, too.
Okay.
Because that is a different spell list.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've ever seen the red magics come off of his left
What
arm.
are you doing?
Giving you everything. Bye.
Why do you keep... I can't let you keep doing that.
It's a gift for a god. I'm gonna take my staff as well. I'm gonna slide the ring off my finger, place it up in the center of the staff, and just have it kind of grow into it, leaving that just single gold ring in the middle. I'm just gonna hand it over to Miasyn. Just make sure there's a little growth in that winter.
As he hands you his staff and his magical staff.
I'm not going to leave you alone here with no magic to protect you.
There's plenty of magic in this forest to protect me. I promise you, there's plenty.
I mean, the Circle of Doug could protect you, too.
Yes, I got the Dougs. I've got the Todds. All the elementals, those are the Todds.
Okay.
Plus, I'm not being actively hunted by a god, so I think I'll be okay for a day. I could use a good nap. I've been flying around everywhere.
Where have you been going?
I went down south. I looked at there's volcanoes erupting. I had to see what that was about. You said Taliva was falling. I went there. Though, people seem to be really nonchalant about a city about to fall. Like, no one seems to be actively trying to stop it at the moment. At least from what I could tell. And then I saw that elemental up north.
You talked to
And I
him.
didn't talk to him. I was going to see what you wanted me to say. And convince him, or them, it.
I don't think we could convince an elemental titan of Aurils to relent or to stand with us against her. But there's a way for you to figure out a bit about what its weaknesses are and how best to fight it.
I can occupy its time if we time it right. When he comes down south, or they... Did I get a gender from this thing? Or is it just a they? Okay. When they come down south, I can occupy its time for a bit. I won't say I'll win in a fight, but at least keep it out of yours.
Please don't put yourself in fights you can't win.
I'll be fine. I can turn into an elemental too.
Not right now, because you
Not right
just
now.
killed all your magic!
I'm drained.
Verdeth, what? And she's
Yeah,
going to touch
turn into
your
a tempest.
arm. She's going to touch your arm and the spot where the red was originally from.
You feel like a red diamond, or like, not a red diamond. You feel like a diamond or something in his shoulder.
Verdeth, what is this?
She just collar up and pulls it down, and you see the red gem from that shade decided to hide in a very shallow, very shallow grave. We've all made sacrifices to protect the other one.
What does this do?
Some fire spells. I can hurt people that are immune to fire still, and a couple other things. I don't remember everything, but it's been a while since I've had it.
And what is the cost you paid?
It's here. It's like not very attractive. Kind of give a little crick in my shoulder every once in a while.
Verdeth, you could never not be attractive.
I know it. He's actually a little lighter in his personality, like a little bit of that old personality is coming back through in this moment, and you do notice that.
I love you, my sunshine.
I love you too, Daffodil. I've never been one to worship gods, but I mean, I guess there's a first for everything, right?
I have another friend who is on his way to becoming more Then he already is.
Another one of these Raven Court members?
Yes,
How are
Sylvain.
these people in charge of anything? They all seem evil.
I think that it is impossible to hold the power that we do, both magically and politically, and not be bad. But then I look at you.
What the fuck am I?
Then I
I
look
got
at
the
you.
Dougs, the Todds. I got people I'm in charge of too, baby.
And you're the exception to that rule.
It's hard being great.
But I know that Sylvain is headed beyond, and he has a love there waiting for him. And a spot saved. And perhaps whatever I become next, if it is at all in my power to do so, and even if it's not, I'm going to find a way to make it so.
I'm sure you will.
Because I cannot say goodbye to you. I have forced myself to say goodbye to the other guardians over the years. But I cannot say goodbye to you.
Fine. See you around.
Yeah. You always know where to find me. Miasyn's going to kiss you again.
So, after that conversation, what would Verdeth's next steps be in his head as he's found out all this information now? Or does he have any follow-up questions to Miasyn about this whole fucking thing?
Yeah, I think the only question I have is, like, what do you want me to do, Mai? You didn't tell me what to do. What am I supposed to do, Mai?
Just keep the door open so
Okay.
that if I need your help, if Even opens his and I can't resist it, I'm going to pull you through your door and into Even's with me.
Okay.
And do everything that you would do anyway. You're going to find out how to deal with this Titan in the most peaceful way possible. You're going
Should I
to
fight
save...
You want me to fight it? Like, are you launching an attack against the god? And can we time this so I can take out the Titan? Or at least
Oh,
occupy
yes,
the
please.
Titan?
Oh, it'd be great if you could time this well.
Yeah. Let me know, babe.
Yeah.
I mean, Mai.
Yes. If, once you know reliably where the Titan will be, let me know. We can speak through my door anytime. I'll track my progress with putting my magic into the gem and how long it will take me to be at a high enough power. It would be very difficult for me I think it might actually be impossible for me to open Even's door on my own.
Okay.
But if we can perhaps find a way to know when Even would do a thing, which is its own impossible task.
Well, I can get you there.
And we can
I know where he is. Well, I know where I dropped him. This was like
You
1,000
gave him
years ago at this point.
You gave him the demigod seat of the elemental plane of ice?
Was that? I didn't know that's what I was doing. He said he wanted to go to the plane, so I brought him there.
Okay, actually, that's fascinating and useful and, surprising. You're a very good friend. Alright! We're going to have
also
some
got a
time
statue.
to plan.
Did you know I had gotten a statue? I'm sure you've seen it. I've had it on our table.
You've shown it to me once or
Hey,
twice.
it's great. It's a great statue.
It is a great statue. It's of you. It's the best statue ever. There's never been a better statue.
But,
And I'll say it again, you
there.
could make you have the power to make anything out of Earth you want. You could make yourself...
I've tried, it just doesn't come out as good.
Oh.
I'm not an artist.
I disagree with that. I think in many ways you are one. Maybe not
Just
a sculptor.
Not a sculpting artist, I can promise you.
But absolutely an artist. As she's looking around the still beautiful location of their wedding. Okay. We will try to coordinate an attack on the Titan, a grab into Evan's realm.
Yeah, so I can teleport you into there, and then I can go and I can transform into Tempest and occupy it so it can't make its way back to you.
That'd be incredible. And I'm also going to need to plan a bit more with the source to determine how I can get it set to latch onto another plane as well.
Okay. Is there anyone I should talk to about the whole Taliva thing? Like, since you're not going to be there, I'm assuming?
Yes, so this will take me away for a while. We can, like I said, we can still be in communication with each other as long as you keep your door open. But I will not have any magic power, and therefore do not think it wise for me to be amongst the Raven Court. Morwen knows what I'm doing. She's the one that gave me the means to do it. Sylvain and Solarian were there as well when Pharaoh was found. They know what I'm doing. As far as the fall of Taliva, it is something that they should focus a bit more on. I mean, there's probably going to be a Raven Court meeting soon, and if I'm not going, perhaps you can.
Sounds like walking into a viper's nest.
I don't think that Verdeth would be foolish enough to fight you again.
Just pull the sunblade off my hip. Flip it up in the air.
And if nothing else, Verdeth owes me that much to let you into a Raven Court meeting.
Well, I don't have a way of knowing when it happens, so...
I assume they'll let me know, and then I can let you know.
If that's what you think is the best call.
And as far as protecting people and the Frozen North and Taliva, I have had very illuminating conversations with both Solarian and Morwen recently. Morwen has the arcane knowledge in the presence of Tautek and Taliva. Tautek, the Raven Court's technology and research arm that we own and operate. I don't have very much to do with it anymore, but
okay.
Morwen's and Solarian are the ones in charge of that now.
Okay.
And Solarian is also doing a lot to protect the people of the Frozen North and make sure that they have what they need to withstand this harsher winter until we can fix that problem.
I mean,
they'd be good
I
people
can
to reach
turn
out
into
to.
the Phoenix one and go up there and help raise the temperature.
Talk to Solarian about it. And also, just so you know, the source is aware that I have had thoughts about steps beyond it for some time, and has its thoughts on Solarian as a replacement.
Okay.
I highly doubt Solarian would take that deal, but I am aware that it has made contact and its presence known to Solarian a few times now.
What is that fucking thing think of you becoming a god?
You haven't tranced yet about that.
I haven't tranced yet about that.
Okay.
But
interesting.
knowing it as well as I do, as a god, I will keep doing what I've always done, which is to protect the interests of the Frozen North, which very much includes it. I do not think that it has the capacity for emotion, But if there is any emotion at all that it could understand, it is tied to the need for survival and perhaps fear. Everything that we do, that it does, is survival. It is. So as long as I can offer it safety and security and its survival, it does not want to have to start over from scratch again.
One insight check, Miasyn.
What are you looking for? I might
No,
just give
you
it to
roll an
you.
insight check against me.
You insight against him.
Oh, damn. Okay. I have advantage. Cool.
You had advantage anyway. You're married.
I rolled super low. Can I have triple advantage?
No.
That is such a shame. Okay. Math is hard. 12 plus 9, 21.
You rolled low. Yeah.
I did roll low. I rolled a 9 with advantage. Okay, roll 21. I have mad insight while I still have this mask on my face.
There's thought behind my Verdeth's eyes right now. There's thoughts going behind through his eyes and the smallest tinge of anger or vengeance. You're not sure.
What are you not saying, Verdeth?
I just hope he doesn't hurt you while you're being protected there in an attempt to keep you from achieving your potential.
It will only do what is in its own interest and benefit, and that is not in its interest or benefit, especially because it very well knows that you would come after it.
Well, if you become a god, you are no longer bound to it, leaving it vulnerable to others who may wish it negative things.
The purpose of me becoming a god is so that none of you will be vulnerable, and so none of you will have to be afraid of anything.
Oh, I'm not
because you'll
afraid
have
of
a god protecting you.
Just so that's perfectly clear, I'm not afraid of anything.
Good.
Carrot.
Yeah, I gotta use the bathroom. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I gotta bring up is that, Shade, when we get back from the bathroom, that's the last thing Miasyn wants to say, and then she's gonna probably out, because it's been long already. I'm sorry, Eric, I'm sorry!
Mm-hmm. This episode is just called Miasyn's Long Goodbye.
My Goodbye! For any Epic the Musical fans, My Goodbye is on Miasyn's playlist. We're not
my
gonna
goodbye.
have this episode
M.I.
experience.
Goodbye.
Oh! I like a pun. Sometimes I spell Miasyn M-A-I, but, like, spelled in her name, it's M-I-A, but that doesn't look like I think that we usually just do M-I for spelling. I know that Joe does M-I for the spelling. Mm-hmm. Also, on Miasyn's playlist is One Last Time from Hamilton, like the song that George Washington's Goodbye, which I originally put on there. I originally put on there thinking that, like, Sylvain was more Washington and Miasyn was more Hamilton. Because Miasyn doesn't know how to say goodbye. Like, teach us how to say goodbye. But she's figuring out how right now.
Actually, it is a good song for Sylvain, because Sylvain would be doing that too.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of really good songs. Like, every song on my playlist, I could give a full paragraph explanation for why it is and which moments of the song represent which characters. Like, the songs on the playlist are not all Miasyn or Miasyn's perspective.
Correct.
Like, a lot of them are other people's perspective on Miasyn, and I love that.
I do like that Verdeth has already brought up the Dougs, because it's going to make it easier to bring them into the finale, because now they've been mentioned. And the fucking Todds? The fuck, man?
Now, canonically, they're called the Dougs, so now I've got to figure that out.
We found out it's the dudes.
Defenders of Universal Goodness.
Dudes of Universal Goodness. Defenders of Universal Goodness. I love it. Okay. One last thing. Maybe. Probably. Hopefully. Because this has been long. I'm sorry, Eric.
It's fine. 3, 2, Carrot, back in.
The other thing about me dropping, if I do drop being the one to hold the deal with it, is that I put Morwen on the deal. It was part of how I got to the gem, which meant that I had to remove a door from my mind. So, I am no longer connected to Destiny, and Destiny can no longer close herself off from me if we're in proximity.
Okay.
And also, I made a pact with Morwen that I would continue to ensure her immortality as a god. So I'm planning on granting that to Morwen and to X for as long as they want it. So X will still be protected.
So you're saying I shouldn't kill the Elder Brain?
Please don't. Why would you?
If it's not controlling your life anymore, I've told it before, I will be the one to end it.
Because you thought it was doing harm to me.
Yeah.
Whatever harm we saw it doing, it will not be doing anymore.
If you ask me to leave it alone, I will.
And I would let you know if that changed. But I
You
do
need to
believe...
ask me to leave it alone, Mai. If that's what you want, you need to ask me to leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Please. Or at least trust me to handle it.
Alright,
But I have
tell
taught
me
it
about
well.
this tomorrow in person.
What do you want to know?
Can I trust them? Who are they? I know they're on the Raven Corps, but that's all I know about them.
I think that Morwen has good intentions and is willing to, like someone else you know, be the one paying prices and costs if it means a better world for others. Solarian as
trust
well.
them?
I think that you should trust everyone with a grain of salt, or a sea of it. I think use your judgment. I think that I trust Morwen to act in ways that benefit magic in the future and herself. I think that ultimately she wants a better future, but she has also shown that she will do whatever it takes in ways beyond I have if she sees something threaten her ultimate goal.
Right. Well,
I respect Morwen, and I think you will too.
We'll see.
And Solarian. They're not Verdeth. And I'll leave it at that.
I'm gonna ask for a persuasion check against an insight check from Verdeth.
Natural 20 insight.
Okay.
What's that total?
37.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, hold on.
My
I
passive
actually-
insight is 27.
Well, my persuasion's only a plus 16, so I can't beat it even with a natural 20.
No.
No.
So it's entirely up to Verdeth whether or not because Miasyn said all the correct words that Verdeth would have wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Miasyn believes what she's saying.
And yeah, no,
Miasyn
that's
is not.
that was never
yeah.
the question, because that was always, you guys know that about each other. You guys typically do not lie to each other. That's why I said persuasion.
Killing an Elder
We're about to have a married couple argument. Hold on. What do you mean lying about killing an elder brain? I never said we were going to kill an elder brain.
Well, no, I'm saying the deception role did before, where he was hiding that he would kill.
Oh. Okay, well that's not lying outright,
Lying by
but
omission. It's still the same thing.
yeah.
So, Verdeth, you pick up on what you pick up. You know that Miasyn believes everything Miasyn is saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Always.
But
Usually.
But if she is a god, she may not have the capacity to come down if it were to make moves. And if the deal is broken, you know the Elder Brain's intention. It's told you its intention. Miasyn is the only thing holding it to a moral code.
Right.
And you know that.
Yes.
From your own experience with it.
Yes.
So you know the other parts of it. So whether or not it can be controlled by her still is up to Verdeth's decision.
Yeah, I will have
Miasyn could be a little
play that
delulu.
yeah, I'm playing that out. Verdeth is playing that out to see what happens. The minute he hears about the Elder Bling stepping out of line, it's like, oh, okay. Lightsaber to the chest.
So,
I think, yeah, and I like Miasyn, we can even say, I can step back into character. I trust you more than anyone or anything else in this world. So, if you think that the Elder Brain is being dangerous, is hurting people, you know that it has always been my wish to protect. And if protecting the most people, and I know that we're going to talk about this in a few hours together, she says, very much not to Verdeth.
I was going to say, are we?
If protecting the most people means that you have to go against the Elder Brain, I do not think that that would surprise it.
Well, you let it know that the minute it steps out of line, it will deal with me.
It's always known that.
Yeah, well, now that it won't have a direct connection between me and it anymore. If I find out anything.
Maybe there's some other anxious little adventurer out there who would like to be a new moral compass for an insane amount of power. That is the worst joke I have ever made, and I have made some horrible ones. I am not good at jokes.
Well,
That was a particularly bad one, wasn't it?
it worked. It landed.
I really have cracked.
Yeah, I know. You want to become a god. I gathered that you've lost the plot on this one. But I think I'll go find the Sylvain, not Sylvain. Sylvain's a different person. It's a lot of names that sound very similar.
We really do. It's Ravencourt all the
Sylvain,
time. There's
Solarian, Verdeth, Verdeth,
Miasyn and Morwen.
Miasyn Morwen. Like it's like we're
been a
building
thing.
And then there's
Marvel
Link.
comic. But I think
It's been a whole thing.
It seems like a lot. I think to end the scene, though, I will call down Munin and now you being this is the first time you see him, he has actually like a raven body that I've kind of connected a familiar with.
Oh.
And this item because I'm no longer attuned to it 100% all the time, so I have this raven that is attuned to it that I use to see through it.
Wow. So much has changed.
And I will use Munin to cast Legend Lore on Miasyn and Verdeth.
Oh. Kate's melting. Miasyn's cracked, but Kate's still melting.
So
Okay.
you see a rehash of the entire adventure we had together. The love we've shared. Eventually, an ending as the ring is put onto the staff and it is grown out. And the staff is passed off to Miasyn so she can go and fulfill her destiny, become a god, leaving poor little mortal Verdeth behind.
And at that, Verdeth walks away and heads on over to Frostfang Peaks to meet, because he's got to walk because he can't fly anymore right now because So for the first day, you walk.
I could have taken the day. I could literally just teleport there the next day at the same time, just resting.
You don't have to be honest.
It's more dramatic if you walk for the first day. You walk for the first day, and in the direction of Frostfang Peaks, leaving Miasyn here all by herself
With the new staff.
with a new staff, with a loaded day's worth of magic from the gem. And what'd she do?
Before Miasyn leaves, she touches the tree that took them from their wedding to Everbloom Island, and she glances out at Everbloom as she does so, and she's going to leave behind a frosted handprint on that tree. And then she will go to the Elder Brain. As she is making her way in, because the gem has already been loaded for the day, well beyond its expected capacity for one day, I imagine. And she has spent spells today anyway, so she can't load all of her magic in. She's going to use the magic she has left to double check, reinforce, reinsure all of the protections around herself and the Elder Brain. And when she finally reaches their lair, she is going to reach an arm up towards it, as she did when they first made the pact about 1800 years ago. And 2 tentacles will come down, creating almost like a trapeze swing for her to sit in. And it lifts her up, and she becomes wrapped into the Elder Brain very much in the same way as when it is ensuring her immortality and growing her new bodies. And for the first time in a very long time, she fully links their minds together. And she will stay like that. And each day she will put all of her spells into the gem, while relying instead on the eyes and network that she has established with the Elder Brain and Verdeth, and whatever he chooses to do from here.
Okay.